my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow!
The throw, rainbows it down the right side for Kyle Pitts. He's got it. He's there. Touchdown. Oh, my.
Oh, my indeed. Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Bits podcast with Boko, here to talk about all things Boston Celtics and NBA playoffs and a lot more, because we have a couple things outside the playoffs that we want to talk about today. So obviously the draft lottery happened last week and Team USA's full roster got announced last week. We didn't get to really talk about it because we were short on time, and we had a lot of funny moments, Shanghai Sharks moments that pulled up out of nowhere. So, I think we had a fun episode last week, and I think this week we could talk about the stuff we missed. And it's just me and James today, so we're gonna get rocking on it because I know Reed had work, and we all have our own normal lives to go to. Yeah. So let's get on with the draft lottery. It just happened last week, and apparently it was the most boring thing ever. From everyone who I've listened to in the past week, talk about the announcer was crap, and then a lot of it just wasn't fun to watch compared to most years, because also it's right in the middle of the playoffs, right? So it's just kind of the worst timing for it, because I think no one was really watching it.
Yeah, and I thought that it was interesting to it's always interesting to see who gets what pick and everything, but no one pays attention to it that extensively, and also They started doing a mini show for it that's a half hour long, I think, that just shows the first 15 picks and the lottery, and it's boring, and no one really pays attention to it. It's just them just reading off the cards, and then it's over. It's not as interesting as something like the actual NBA draft, where you see the next up and coming players get drafted to the league. It's just it doesn't need to be a thing. I think that they record it because some fans are skeptical of what they actually do in that room. It's also it's literally a 12 by 12 foot room. It's not even a big room or anything. It's so small. And I don't know. I think that it's a dumb thing to have on TV, but I get why they have it in the first place, I guess.
Yeah. They also removed the balls this year, so I guess it wasn't that. I think that was the most authentic way to do it, but
right.
You know what, whatever. But the thing that everyone's been saying, oh, Houston, Toronto stole the lottery, and then OKC got robbed of their first round pick. And Sam Presti will take 6. I think he'll take it, but it kind of sucks. And also, not to mention, Orlando's got 2 top 15 picks. I didn't realize that they traded up with Chicago to get the 8th pick, so that's really good for them. Otherwise, most of these seem pretty normal. I don't know. I watched college basketball, so I think, Cade to Detroit's obvious. Houston probably take Jalen Green.
Right.
From there, I really don't know who's going to take. Actually, Mobley's going to go to Houston, or Mobley's going to go to Cleveland.
Suggs may get taken in that round somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Or he might fall. Actually, I've heard reports that Suggs might fall OKC.
I've heard
6.
Yeah, I've heard both. I've heard that you could go in the top 3, and then he could fall to the 8th. And I'm I think he'll get. Honestly, in my opinion, I think he'll go to Orlando.
Yeah, anything could happen, because look at what happened to Anthony Bennett and what draft 2013.
That was a while ago now. Jeez.
It is a while ago, but it's always funny to reference him when we're talking about crappy draft picks. So
he just gets bottom tier. That's just not you can't get worse than that, other than some guy in the 70s, I think.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
But yeah, there's not much to talk about. It's just draft lottery happened. You can tell how our energy about it is as boring as it is to watch the draft lottery.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of the gist of what I'm saying about it. So that's really it. I think the next thing will be a little bit more exciting, because there's actually some interesting news about it that just from Twitter. It's not anything serious, I don't think. Mm-hmm. So also another thing that happened, of course, we talked about earlier, Team USA rosters got released. Yeah. So I'm just going to list off the players real quick, and I'm going to, I'll give James give his little bit about it. But the list goes Bam Adebayo, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton, and Jason Tatum. My boy Jason Tatum's on the USA team, so I'm happy about it. I don't know about you with Devin Booker, because he's still playing in the playoffs. So I don't know what your thoughts on that.
I'm pretty happy with it. I think that Booker will be fine with it. I don't think that he's gonna. Normally, let's be honest. USA never takes it too seriously. but they kind of know that they're going to win it most years. So that's why I'd say that.
Yeah.
Like, like obviously it was a lot more competitive, back in the day, when, like, especially in like the 90s, obviously USA still smacked, but
Yep.
like it was like other countries still had a lot of potential against them. Nowadays it's, you got Australia, like Serbia, Lithuania, and like that's kind of it. And maybe Spain. But
Yeah,
like,
maybe Spain. Yeah.
Even they don't even have the Gasol brothers anymore. So like, they don't have that. There's not a lot of countries that will actually go up against USA in like a tough battle. But in my opinion, I think Australia is probably the best, with like Patty Mills and like Bogey and a couple other Australian players. They made a good run, like I think 2 years back, 3 years maybe. And they look like the best competition up against USA. But I think that Devin Booker will. I mean, he, like I said, I don't think that he'll take it too seriously, though he'll still obviously work hard. But it's right after playoffs, and I don't think that it's a huge deal. Obviously, winning a gold medal is an amazing feat of accomplishment. But in terms of basketball for USA, it's not
no competition.
Yeah. And but I'm happy for Jason Tatum. I think that Jaylen Brown should have also tried to get on the team, but I guess he didn't get like an invite or anything. But weird to see, in my opinion, weird to see Kevin Love, weird to see Drew Holiday, weird to see Draymond. Jeremy Grant, I'm happy for. Kind of confused how he got into the team, but like some of but the rest of those players all of the players very deserving, but like some of the players are questionable.
No, I mean, I love all the team. It's just because like a lot of people are opting out, and I'm surprised like some of the people who play in the playoffs are going to do it, like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. And that's like my other thing that I want to talk about is that some of these players are gonna have like no rest. They're gonna play they're gonna go finish the playoffs, or they're already finishing, having their a couple of weeks of break, and then going straight to Team USA. Yeah. And that's gonna really suck because for injury wise, and they have to jump from Team USA right back to the regular teams, and for the regular season in October, which they're planning to start in October, which is really stupid for the NBA to like. That's the reason why we have so many injuries this season, is because we started early last time from the bubble and everything. So it doesn't help. Second of all, another thing I want to talk about real quick before I get the actual headline that came out of Team USA is that LeBron is not on Team USA.
Right.
And that we were talking about this is like, that really shows where his head is at. He's not. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, you should be representing your country. You're the best player. And like, you're the icon of basketball. Like, why aren't you playing? I'm like, it shows where his head is at. He's clearly trying to like cool down, trying to rest. He's getting old and focusing on other ventures. Entrepreneurship and movies and other things, so he's not really focused on basketball as much as he used to be anymore. Yeah. So I mean, I want to see what your thoughts about the LeBron thing real quick.
I mean, in my opinion, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of happy. I'm part of me is happy that LeBron's not on the team. I think that this is a tell within itself of LeBron saying, I'm getting too old for this and I need to calm it down. And I think that he's right, because he does. And I think that he can't really, especially with the age that he's at, he's in his years where he's going to start fading away from the NBA. And I'm completely fine with that. It's sad. And I really am obviously upset about it, but like, as would a lot of the entire rest of the world be, but this is the new NBA. We're going to see all these awesome up and coming players like Luka Doncic, Giannis, like all these young Devin Booker, all these young players that are going to start dominating the league. And we're going to see maybe not our new exact up and coming of LeBron or MJ or whatever, but something different. And I'm excited to see that. So I'm happy personally that LeBron said, I'm going to take a step aside this offseason.
Yeah, I mean that's all right for him. I just I think he should be there for at least like coaching or leadership wise. He should have to play.
I'm sure
he might show up. Yeah, I hope so.
We'll see.
But yeah, and then the other headline, apparently people were like, it's not like a big headline, but people were still like mad about it on Twitter for like a day or two. Is that like people are saying like, why did Kevin Love get on the team? Because he's like the token white guy on the team type deal. I'm like, Bruh, he wasn't even that bad during the regular season. A lot of people are opting out, including people like Jokic has to play for his home team. And even then, he's opting out from his home team.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Kevin Love was the best available. I mean, you said Jaylen Brown probably would have been a better substitute in my mind. I mean, what are your thoughts on that little token white guy, whatever? I mean, like, we've had teams in the past with, like, one white guy or all black guys, that's, like, not trying to be controversial or anything, but I'm just, like, look at history. Like, just history says it all.
Exactly. I mean, like, based off of just facts, I mean, it's a predominantly African-American league.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's just going to be like that anyway. It's not anything that has to do with race or whatever. They're better players. They're like the people that have been in the league and are predominantly African American. They're better players and they're good. And there are better white players as well. Like Larry Bird was a great example of an amazing white player, arguably one of the best players ever to play the game. And he was on the Olympic teams, and he was known as sometimes the token white guy. But like, I mean, I'm tired of like people like trying to bring race into this because it's not a big deal. And like the NBA teams, the Olympic teams, the whatever basketball teams, organizations, like it shouldn't matter with race or whatever, and people shouldn't be bothered if there is a token white guy or even a token black guy. Like, who cares? They're all playing basketball and they're all trying to win. Like, let's just enjoy it at that.
Yeah. And I like, again, with the Jaylen Brown thing, like I'm basing that off of skill. Like I think Kevin Love is great, but I think Jaylen Brown is better. That's like my opinion.
Right. I agree.
And, like it's nothing about race. Like I think, because I was watching Jaylen Brown the whole season. I was a Celtics fan. I'm also a little biased because I am a Celtics fan. So I want Jaylen Brown on the team, representing our Team USA. But I mean, yeah, it's whatever. I mean, if Jaylen Brown probably wanted to opt out of the Olympics and get some rest for next season, like that's probably a good idea for both of our young guys. I know Jason Tatum still wants to play, so props to him. So, hopefully he doesn't get injured again next season because he's playing constant basketball for like about a 2-year stretch or whatever.
Yeah,
it's been since regular off season. So yeah, I mean that's really it. Like wasn't really much to talk about. I just want to talk about Team USA and hope that we can win the Olympics again, as usual, because we dominate. And not to mention Luka. I think Luka's opting out, and I think Jokic is opting out. So those are the two big guys from foreign teams that we don't need to worry about.
Right.
So I think that's good. And then that's really it for any other like side news that I really could brainstorm up. That there's not like anything big that was notable to talk about other than the playoff games. Which I'll be honest, my first thing is that some of these, like, I'm surprised how close they are. We had I know you had Suns and Foe, but now it's Suns are up by 3. Suns up 3-2, and the Hawks and Bucks are 2-2 right now. I mean, like, what are your thoughts? Like, we're still talking about playoff basketball. We're still talking about conference finals basketball right now.
Let me be real. Obviously, like, the Suns and Foe thing was obviously like a real hope that could have happened, but like, it wasn't. It was obviously it's a little bit of jokes, but in my honest opinion, I genuinely thought that the Suns were going to win in 5. So me watching them lose the other night was a very frustrating thing for me personally, though I do believe that going into LA that the Suns should finish the job. And if it goes to 7, then I will genuinely be very concerned. But I think that the Suns will finish the job. I think that they're all very frustrated of how they played in Game 5, and they need to show them that they deserve to be in the finals over the Clippers, because they do, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of people would say that too. So I mean, and especially I was talking to my friends about this last night. That all of them were saying that, like, oh well, the Suns had an easier ride to the championship because of injuries. But I want to say that it shouldn't discount them winning in the playoffs. On top of it didn't mean that it was an easy job in the first place. Just because that there were a lot of injuries on their way there doesn't mean that it was a completely easy ride. It was still hard. They still beat the Lakers, and LeBron still could have done more. They probably could have pushed that game to push that series to 7 if LeBron actually stepped up. Jamal Murray was injured before the series even started in the second round. Same with Kawhi. So, like, people saying that all those injuries are big factor into the Suns winning, I think is a little bit of an exaggeration, because the Suns are still playing out of their mind, and they need to do better in this series against the Clippers, and they've been having a little bit of a hard time, but I do think that they should win tonight.
We hope.
We hope. In terms of the Bucks Hawks matchup, I'm very.
Can I pause real quick, because I'm gonna go series by series, and I just want to give my little take on this, because I sent this TikTok to Reed. I didn't want to send it to you yet, but it's basically a thing like Suns thought it would be an easy matchup coming up to the the Clippers, and the Clippers has like a vaccinated peak pulling up, and you got like Pat Bev like punching people, and it's just like, oh my god, this is so bad, because that's how the Clippers play. They're just playing so scrappy, and then Pandemic P turning into vaccinated P right now, absolutely dominating. So I just had to say that vaccinated P is pulling up against the Suns. Second thing. I seriously, I don't know what to say about the whole, you see like the Kawhi thing, like Kawhi just sitting up there, like no emotion, just like
sit with your team, my guy.
That's the thing. That's another thing. I was going to say that, but yeah, he's sitting up in the booth, and I'm assuming he wants to sit with his family and all, but like, at least you can get your family like front row seats and all, you can do all that stuff, but it was just interesting that he wasn't sitting with his team. He's not going to be able to play for the rest of the playoffs probably, but that's just another thing I noticed. It was just Kawhi. I know the memes have circulated around. It's just him just like slouching, like not even celebrating after they win. I mean, that's such a Kawhi thing, but still, it's just kind of funny to see that. I mean, I'm going to like just a serious note. Clippers are playing really well. They're playing really scrappy, which I mean, they're playing like the NBA was like in the early 2000s. Like I think they're playing really scrappy. Not as scrappy as the 80s, but I think like Pat Bev, you see what he's doing. Like you saw last night or 2 nights ago when he tried to break a screen, then he dove on. Like he basically, instead of going at him, he went under Chris Paul and just like knocked him to the ground. Like that would never be called a flagrant one. That would actually just be a regular foul in the old NBA, but now it's a flagrant. So they're really just trying to get under their skin. Like, I think it's working partly, but
partially working too, right? And it's frustrating to watch.
Yep. That's why I said Clippers in 6, because I really thought they had a chance to get 2, and they're going to play really scrappy, really good defense.
Yeah, well,
Ty Lue's a great coach. What?
Well, that didn't happen, did it?
I'm saying the Suns are going to win in 6.
Damn. You said the Clippers in 6.
Oh no, I said Suns in 6.
Oh, you said Clippers in 6, but
I didn't say Clippers. I said they're going to win 2 games.
Now said Clippers in 6.
Oh, no. It's not what I meant. Not what I meant. I meant Suns in 6, because I really thought they're going to win 2 games. No, I seriously, I want Suns versus Hawks. I think that now, especially in front of you. But yeah, I really want to see. I think my dream matchup is gonna be Suns versus Hawks. Just seeing like 2 young players duke it out. Yeah, for the finals, because I think the Bucks, I don't think they're gonna play well. Not to mention, I forgot I was going on this little Ty Lue thing, kind of went on side train, but Ty Lue is an amazing coach. Like Chauncey Billups has given a lot of praise to Ty Lue, because like if you heard about the stories about Chauncey Billups stayed in Ty Lue's house for like 7 weeks to teach him how to coach, how to do switches, make rotations, and everything. And that's why I think he credits Ty Lue on getting hired by the Blazers. So that's an interesting thing. Ty Lue, I'm giving a lot more props than I used to. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But the Clippers. So.
I'm very happy for Chauncey Billups for getting that Portland job.
Should have been the Celtics job, but whatever. Ime Udoka, I'm still happy. I'm still happy for Ime Udoka.
Sign Kenny Atkinson. Sign Kenny.
Yes, sign Kenny Atkinson, assistant. We're going to get Kenny Atkinson as the assistant coach. So, but yeah, I mean, that's it. The Suns are playing well. I don't have to say much about the Suns. They're playing really well. And they're playing as I expected, so there's not much else to say. But the Hawks are not playing as I expected. 2-2 against the Bucks, and I am shocked. I'm going to say the least. I am shocked. So,
what I will say is that last night was extremely shocking.
Yes,
and especially because the Hawks smacked without Trae Young. On top of Giannis got injured.
Thank you for mentioning that, because I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, that is. Yep. And those 2 things are really, really, really bad for the Bucks.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, but I'm glad you mentioned the injury because my little note was like Giannis. So there's actually an update from Woj actually 22 minutes ago or 30 minutes from now, whatever it was, but it says no structural knee damage. So like there was nothing, like no torn ACLs, no nothing.
That's good.
But the timetable is uncertain. So it gives the Hawks a chance if he's not coming back to really dominate the rest of the team that like seems to be on and off, like very, is not consistent. Like I think Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are great players, but they're never consistent enough to carry this team as it needs. If they were like way more consistent, I think they could easily smack the Hawks, but they're not. So that's why I'm saying the Hawks could really win this game, and I'm really having high hopes on the Hawks to win. And second thing, Trey's going to be back for Game 5. I'm pretty sure from what I've seen.
Should be, but
He should be.
I was just very surprised with how this was turning out, along with how game 4 went. Just in general, because like the Hawks were just playing out of their minds.
And I mean, are you good?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just like you didn't look too hot. But I think it's funny enough when I look at this Hawks team, it reminds me of the Jazz, like the Jazz in the East. Like all these players are contributing really well. All these like role players are shooting, making their shots, doing really well. Their total true shooting percentage is over like 55% as a team, so that's really good. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Jazz of the East. Like they're all they have a ton of role players stepping up, and then of course, even without Trae Young, they're dominating without him. Like imagine if the Jazz didn't have Donovan Mitchell, they wouldn't be as good. Let's be honest here. But with the Hawks without Trae Young, popping off. I'm just gonna say that it's great.
I mean, it's definitely interesting to see, and I'm excited to see more of it if that happens. But like Trae Young is a really good player and he helps this team a lot. But like that team is underrated as a team, like without him. I think that a lot of people did not expect them to do as well as they did against the Bucks last night.
I didn't expect that either. Even with Giannis, like when Giannis was in, I give a quick shout out to Onyeka Okongwu for locking down Giannis. If you did watch that game last night, I think they might have him stick on Giannis from here on out if he does come back. If not, they're screwed. I'm gonna say that probably. But yeah, there's not. I mean, I really wanted the Bucks to win. I think this was their window to like win a championship, but doesn't look like it anymore. Not with this new young team. And like just like you said earlier, these young players are stepping up to be the new dominant force in the NBA. Trae Young is one of them, and Devin Booker is another one of them. So I'm going to be surprised to see these two young players in the finals if they do make it, even though the Suns are going to win regardless. So, I mean,
if they're going up against the Hawks, then like that's in my opinion, I think that's an almost guaranteed
win. Even if it goes to 6, I think, or 7, I think it's still Suns.
Yeah, I think even if it goes to 6 or 7, I think that the Suns still win. Like anyway,
and it's funny because oh yeah, go for it. You can finish.
I was just gonna say I'm just confident. I'm also just confident, but like at the same time, like statistically, it's just like the Suns are just dominating every team.
Yeah, and it's funny. I wanted to talk about this real quick because it's like in like Lala hypothetical land. But if the Suns and Hawks make it, these two fan bases are deprived of a championship, and this is going to be an interesting finals to watch these fans go crazy against each other and just like heckling the crap out of players, making it uncomfortable, making home games uncomfortable for the other team.
If you want to get really technical, you could say that the Hawks won in like 59, but like I don't really count that. And it was also the St. Louis Hawks.
St. Louis Hawks. And I don't think the Hawks have been anywhere close. Wait, have they been anywhere close? Or am I thinking of I'm thinking of the Rockets with Keem Olajuwon. I don't think the Hawks have been anywhere close to the finals in my recollection.
The only time that they were actually like a really good team was, I want to say 2015 when
Al Horford, right?
Al Horford, Jeff Teague, DeMar Carroll.
Yeah, that team was not making it. Yeah. That team was not making it, let's be honest here. So, yeah, I don't know if you can think of any other time. So, yeah, these two teams are really deprived. And not to mention the Suns have been burnt multiple times in the finals. So, this is going to be an interesting finals. But, yeah, I mean, that's really it on the notes and all the stuff that's happened in the NBA. I mean, unless you have any other, like, interesting news that you picked up on that I didn't, pick up on.
The only thing that I thought that was, like, kind of slightly hot take worthy was that I saw a couple rumors saying that and they could be fake, but I did see a couple of them saying that the Nets are looking at trade options for Kyrie.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it because I hate Kyrie as a Celtics fan, but that's just my opinion.
I don't think that that they will trade him, but they said that they were open to trades.
Yeah. Well, as a Celtics fan, I like it because I hate Kyrie anyway. But funny enough, I saw this on Twitter. A Boston sports news radio show or whatever said they should trade Tatum and Brown for Dame because Dame's a superstar and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are not even stars. I'm like, excuse me? I don't even know what the radio station is. I don't care. I just saw that quote on Twitter. I'm like, Twitter, but I was like, excuse me?
Yeah,
these two are all stars. Like, what are you on about?
Yeah, that's kind of whack. Like, I don't really, and also that like makes no sense in terms of salary.
Yeah, because you would have to sign and trade Tatum, which is like
that would be an impossible trade to do.
It would just load up our cap space, and it would just be disgusting. And I think Brad Stevens is smarter than that. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
So, a pretty short podcast today. I mean,
a little bit.
Not much to talk about. I mean, there's not really anything breaking news wise. I mean, other than Team USA, it was just like that's the biggest headline I've seen that I could think of. I mean, other than the coaching, like there is like other coaching hires we could talk about, but like there's nothing really notable. I think Chauncey Billups of the Blazers is probably the most notable one, and I think congrats. Like I think he deserves it. So that's all I had to say.
The only two things that I have to say about like the coaching search is that like one, Kenny Atkinson should be getting like every call, which I've been saying for like the last two podcasts, I think. And then I'm surprised that no other teams other than Portland reached out to Becky Hammon.
Oh right, Becky Hammon was a candidate for a coaching job. That's weird. Yeah, it's really weird. She's just like Ime Udoka. Like she's an assistant for Pop for so many years. She'd be really qualified.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see if any teams take a look, like maybe like Orlando, or like Sacramento.
Can Boston hire Kenny Atkinson and Brittany Hammond for assistants? Question mark.
Yeah, that would be hella hype, honestly.
I know that'd be like two former Spurs assistants, and then we got Kenny. So that'd be kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie, and that would carry our team a lot farther.
I honestly, and for like. And I think that I said this last podcast, but I'm not 100% sure, or the last time that I was on the podcast. But I think that I genuinely do believe that Kenny should go to the Timberwolves coach. Because, like, get back with D'Lo, work out that shit with Cat, and then you might have something cooking with Anthony Edwards, like, and all collectively as combined. So, like, we'll
trade away a Kogi and all these other crappy players and get some draft capital.
Like try and get something running a little bit there. Try and get some cooking because you can't have that much potential talent sitting at the 15 seed for 5 years. Like that's just a waste.
I agree. And anyone's better than who it was. I don't even know the former guy at the T-Wolves because he was just so terrible. I don't even know who it was.
I don't even remember who was coaching that team.
I can look it up right now, and we're gonna be like, who? Like we're gonna look at him like who? Ryan Saunders.
Yeah, who?
Yeah, who? Ryan Saunders and Chris Finch. Who? Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, T-Wolves need to pick up Kenny Atkinson, but yeah, that's really it for the podcast. If you're made it this far, subscribe. It's a pretty short one, and hopefully next week we'll see who the conference finals are. We're gonna see who's in the conference final or in the what am I saying? NBA finals. We're going to see who's in the NBA finals. Maybe a game or two will pass and we can get our, our reaction on that. I mean, funny enough, we might actually do a, like we did with the Nets. I want to do maybe a late game, like a post game reaction or like post series reaction the day of, like if the Suns win or if the Hawks win. So, look out for that. So you might see Reed or Reed James, whoever is available that night, really late night, when the game ends. So I know Reed was absolutely, heartbroken when his team lost. We'll see what happens when the Suns win potentially. We'll see how James's reaction is.
Yeah, if the Suns either win tonight or in Game 7, or if they lose, which is not going to happen.
Don't manifest it.
But the Suns are if the Suns win and we do a post-series reaction, if I'm not inebriated, I will be here.
Bet. Bet. Yeah, so I definitely want to get James' reaction on that series. So, yeah, look out for that. We will see you all next week with NBA Finals content because that's going to be finally coming up. So, we'll see you next week. Peace.